Joining me today is Professor Jim Walsh. He's a professor of history at New England College. So, Jim, 4th of July. This show is sort of focused on that.
Independence Day.
Yeah. I love the fireworks, but I just thought we might kind of start there. And what's something about the 4th of July that we don't know about?
Oh,
I mean, you know about it, but we, the average American, right?
Sure.
Shooting off our fireworks. We know it's our independence sort of thing, but what's a bit that a historian would say? And remember this.
Yes.
So what would it be?
Yeah. Okay. So, let's start with your fireworks. Where do those come from? Why do we set off fireworks on Independence?
Well, because it's fun.
Well, of course. But, there were more fun things to do. Strangely enough, because we, as at least in our founding generations, were an English country, right? We were Englishmen. Mm-hmm. We brought with us many of those English customs. In fact, right up till the Revolution, we were celebrating the most famous of English holidays with lots of revelry and fire, which was Guy Fawkes Day on November the 5th. And that's usually celebrated with a big bonfire and sometimes a little fun-loving burning in effigy. Sometimes Guy Fawkes, sometimes the Pope. Well, when the Revolution broke out and we declared our independence, not on July 4th.
So I'll stop you there. Not on July 4th.
Not on July 4th.
So the big day isn't the right day?
It's as good a day as any. You could make the argument that July 2nd would be a better day because that was the day that Congress voted independence. In fact, John Adams wrote a letter to his wife on July 3rd saying, July 2nd will be a day that we will celebrate forever.
So the day that we celebrate forever is 48 hours overdue? Or
Sort of, because that's the day that Congress agreed the language. So move back to June. They create a committee of 5 to go out and write some kind of fancy schmancy declaration. So they send Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and 2 guys I can't remember, to work on this thing for weeks. They finally come back with a draft, present it to the Congress on the 1st or 2nd. Congress tears it apart, sends it back to Jefferson and Franklin to clean it up, and Adams, and then on the 4th, they agree the final language. Well, the almost final language. Sometime weeks later, maybe even years later, if I can remember correctly, they inserted the word unanimous in the beginning, the unanimous declaration of the states. But unanimous wasn't in the original, even though it was relatively, sort of.
So they agreed in principle on the 2nd.
They agreed to become independent.
On the 2nd.
On the 2nd. On the 4th.
They nearly agreed to the language.
Yes.
And then some time later, they agreed to the language.
Well, no, they agreed to the language on the 4th.
Without the word unanimously in it.
They didn't need it at that point.
Okay.
That was a political addition later. They agreed to the language, and a few of those present signed it.
Okay, so my big question, I guess, is on July 2nd, can we take that day off too? That's the...
That's fine with me. I'll have to ask my boss.
So the 2nd is the big holiday, but but nobody knows that.
Right. That was in Adams' mind. That was the day we were going to celebrate. So we go to the 4th. Why was it the 4th? Well, you've seen the thing, right? Mm-hmm. What does it look like at the top? That beautiful handwritten copy. July 4th. Big letters, bigger than John Hancock's signature, right? July 4th. So here's what happens. They agree to the document. A couple of them sign it. Jefferson, one of them. And then he's given the rough draft, or the draft, and said and sent to the printer. So Jefferson carries the draft agreed by Congress to the printer, a fellow named Dunlap in Philadelphia, and they print 200 oversized broadsides. of this document.
And I'll start
Directly
with
from the original draft.
I got to stop you here. When we return, we're going to continue our conversation, so please stay with us.